we have completed up till different kinds of inheritance, that is single inheritance, multiple inheritance, multi-level inheritance, hierarchical inheritance and hybrid inheritance. Hybrid inheritance is nothing but it is virtual base class. In our today's session, we are going to learn three different topics which is based on the constructor in derived class, applications of constructor and destructor in inheritance, and containership. So we will perform the practicals based on these three different topics, and over here we are going to complete the unit number 3, right? So we are going to complete operator overloading and type conversion as well as the inheritance concept over here. In our next video we are going to start with the pointer and IO console operations. So without wasting much time, let us start with our today's session. We will perform the practical based on the constructor in derived classes. Right now we have performed lots of program which contains the constructor in base class as well as in derived class. So that example you can mention over here, but I am going to take one example that is called constructor in derived class. Let me give the comment line first. Constructor in derived class, you need to include two header file, iostream.h has include conio.h. Now we are going to create one class called base, then public keyword integer a, going to create default constructor in base class, going to store value of a by 10. Again I am going to create one class called derived class. I am going to inherit public base class, public keyword integer b variable I am going to declare inside derived class. Now we are going to create the default constructor in derived class also, b equals to 20. Now I am going to create display function of the inside the derived class, which will print value of a and value of b. Cout \n, value of b is and variable b. So using display function you are able to display the value of variable a and value of variable b. Let me repeat this code once again. This code represents the example of single level inheritance, because in this particular example you are having one base class and one derived class. So over here when you want to inherit particular class, at that time you just need to put colon sign, then use access specifier. Access specifier may be of public, private and protected. The public access specifier is there, at that time you can access all the properties and method of that particular class. Over here I have make public base, or I have declared base as a public. So this particular derived class can access all the properties of base class. Now derived class contains one variable called b. Inside derived class constructor we have initialized the value of b by 20. Derived class also contains one method called display. Using display function you are able to display the value of base class variable as well as the value of derived class variable. Now void main, clear screen and get ch. Now I want to give one comment line over here. You just need to read it. This concept is cleared in our previous videos also. When you create object of derived class, then first it will call default constructor of base class. This program we have already done when we have learned the concept of single level inheritance, right? This is the same program which we have taken over here, right? But you can write this program in the concept of constructor in derived class, right? So now derived d1 dot display. Let me save this program first, then we will execute the program. i13.c++, program name you can give any file name as a continuation, because you people are going to perform exercises also, right? So that thing also you need to write in the journal. So whatever the name of program which I have may not be the exact program name which you people have. Now let me run the program. The output would be value of A is 10 and value of B is 20. But this is not the program which we are going to discuss. See, using this program we just need to understand that whenever you are going to create the object of derived class, in such cases it will first call the default constructor of base class. I am going to dry run the program. You people need to focus on the cursor. See over here, it will clear screen first, then we have created the object of derived class. So first of all it will go inside the derived class constructor, but over here we have inherited base class, right? So it will go inside the base class constructor. It will initialize the value of A by 10. After initialization of the value of variable A by 10, it will switch into the initialization of B variable by 20. And then we have called display method. With the help of display you are able to display the value of variable A and the value of variable B. So in this way program is executed. So when it is asked that you just need to write the program which is based on the constructor in the derived class, at that time remember one thing, that when you mention the default constructor in derived class, in such case you need to define the constructor in derived class also as well as in the base class also. Now when you want to create that type of program, or suppose you want to mention the destructor in the program, right? Such thing can also be possible. See, but for that you need to have the clear concept about constructor and destructor. What is the concept of constructor? It is used to initialize the value of class variable. Now for what purpose destructor is used? It is used to destroy the variables which has been initialized by the constructor. So for that destructor is used. Now see, like constructor is automatically called when object of that class is created, same way destructor is automatically called when it is destroyed, when the object is destroyed from the memory. So constructor and destructor is created when you create constructor. At that time it will initialize the value of class variable. When you use the destructor, at that time it will destroy or destruct the values from the memory. So let us take example of constructor and destructor in inheritance. That is the second program of our today's session. Example of constructor and destructor in inheritance. Now you can take any type of inheritance. I am going to develop one program. You just need to predict. See, we have learned 5 types of inheritance. First is called single, second is called multi-level, third is called hierarchical, fourth is called multiple, and last one is called hybrid inheritance, right? So when I am going to develop the program, at the time you just need to tell me that what is the type of inheritance we have used over here. So let us begin with the example. Has include iostream.h, has include conio.h. We are going to create class base. Base class contains constructor as well as destructor also. So first of all, let me create constructor of base class. Inside constructor, I am going to print that base class you have called base class constructor. Now inside destructor, see, destructor is used or defined with the tilde sign. So inside destructor, print \n base class destructor. So using this message, we are able to understand that when this message is printed, at that time base class constructor is called. When this line is printed, at that time base class destructor is called. Now I am going to develop one more class which contains named as a derived one, inherit public base. Now inside derived one, again we are going to create constructor and destructor for the derived one class. So inside derived one constructor, I am going to print derived one class constructor. Similarly, I am going to use destructor, or I am going to design destructor for the derived class one. So inside derived class destructor, I am going to print \n derived one class destructor, right? So two classes right now I have defined, that is base class which contains base class constructor, base class destructor. Constructor is used to initialize the value of variable, and destructor is used to destroy the values which are initialized by the constructor. If default constructor is there, it will automatically call when you create the object of that class. Similarly, when you destroy the object, at that time destructor is automatically called, right? Now one more class I am going to create, that is called class derived 2. So from here you can able to give the answer of my question. I am going to derive class 2 from derived class 1. So this is the hierarchy. I will give you the hint. Base, from base the derived one is created, and from derived one, derived 2 class is created. So this is called grandfather class, father class and child class, right? This is called grandfather class. This is called, let me take it this side. Now this is the father class, and derived 2 can be referred as a child class. So now you can give the answer that what type of inheritance is this. Which represents this structure? Base, derived 1, derived 2, grandfather, father and child relationship. Yes, this is a multi-level inheritance. Answer is what? Multi-level. How? Because it maintains the classes as a floor wise, right? See, don't confuse between multiple and multi-level. Level means floor and multiple means two, right? So when there is two base class and out of that you are going to derive one class, that is called multiple inheritance. But over here we have taken the example as a floor. It is in the form of floor, right? So that is called multi-level inheritance. So I am going to take the example of multi-level inheritance to represent the concept of constructor and destructor in the inheritance. Now one more destructor and constructor I am going to take, that is for derived 2 class \n derived 2 class constructor. Similarly, I am going to define destructor for derived 2 class. Now let me print statement derived 2 class destructor. So over here, with the help of multi-level inheritance, we have created 3 different classes. One is called base class, second is called derived 1 class and third is called derived 2 class, and each class contains its own constructor and destructor. Now let us develop the structure of void main. We need to clear screen and get ch. Now we are just going to create the object of derived 2 class. Remember one thing, that I have created the object of child class only, right? Because we know that when I create the object of child class, at that time first of all it will call the default constructors of base classes, right? So over here I have created the object of derived 2 class. Now let me save the program first and then I will explain the remaining code. Now see what happens when this object is created. At that time first of all it will switch over here, but it checks that derived 1 is inherited, so it will go into this particular constructor. But again it also contains grandfather class, so the constructor of base class is executed first and it will print base class constructor. Then this is over, then it will print derived class 1 constructor, then again this is completed, and then at last it will print derived 2 class constructor, right? So in this way you will get the output which is related output which is related with the constructor. So let me run the program. See, base class constructor, derived 1 class constructor and derived 2 class constructor. So always remember one thing, when there is a grandfather class, when there is a father class and when there is a child class, in such cases if all the 3 classes contains default constructor, at that time first of all it executes grandfather class constructor, then father class constructor, and at last child class constructor is executed. Now see, what about the destructor? If I want to see the output of destructor, right? At that time, how can I check when it will destroy the object? Naturally, when this block is completed, see, when you run the program, at that time you will get 3 lines only, right? But if I want to see that in what order the in what order the destructor has been called, that can be checked by pressing Alter F5. Alter F5 why? Because when you want to see the output once again, when you press Ctrl F9, at that time it will compile your program again. But if you want to see the output of previous program or last executed program, at that time you just need to press Alter F5. We generally do that when we skip get ch, right? So you need to press Alter F5. But before showing the output of destructor, I would like to explain certain things regarding the destructor. So constructor will be called in the order of grandfather, father and child class. So now in what order destructor has been called? In reverse order. In reverse order means first child is erased from the memory. That means first of all derived 2 class destructor is called, then the destructor of father class has been called, and at last the destructor of base class has been called. So always remember one thing, when there is a constructor, at that time first of all base class constructor, then intermediate base class constructor, and then child class constructor, derived class constructor is called. But when destructor is there, at that time first of all derived class destructor is executed, then intermediate base class destructor is executed, and as at last base class destructor is executed. So remember one thing, when there is a constructor, base, ibase and derived is executed. When destructor is there, at that time derived, ibase and base, that means in reverse order it is executed. Let me execute the program by pressing Alter F5. See, I am again going to repeat. If you press Ctrl F9, you will not get the output regarding destructor. If you want to see the output of destructor, at that time you need to press Alter F5. Over here you are able to see that first of all derived 2 class destructor is displayed, then derived 1 class destructor is displayed, and at last base class destructor is displayed. Because it is deleted from the memory, whatever the object you have created, that object will be erased from the memory. And over here we have created the object of derived class 2, so it will be destroyed from the memory first, then derived 1 and then base class. So in this way you are able to implement constructor and destructor inside inheritance. And inside any type of inheritance, like over here we have taken the example of multi-level inheritance, but any type of inheritance can be used with the constructor and destructor. Now let me take one new program. This is the last program of our today's session as well as of unit number 3, right? So example of containership. Now see, contains means what? To carry something, right? So containership means what? Object of one class is contained in another class. That is the concept of containership. Container means what? To contain something. Over here we are going to take the object of one class which contains object of another class as a data member. We need to include 2 header files as include iostream.h, as include conio.h. Let us create one class called base use public keyword integer x, create blank constructor of base class. This is the default constructor. Now parameterize constructor x equals to m. Again we are going to create one method called display, which will display the value of class variable base, that is x. So backslash n, value of x is and variable x. Now we are going to create one new class, that is called derived class. But over here, see what is our concept? Refer the definition. We are going to use the concept of containership. That means one class contains another class, but how? As a data member. Data member means the part of class. So I am not going to inherit that class over here. I will use base class inside derived class, that is called data member. In our previous video, lots of time we have talked about data members, right? So we are going to use base class as this. See, this is a base class. So we are going to use base class as a data member of derived class. So inside derived class, let me take one variable called y, as well as let me take the object of base class. Over here you can see that inside derived class I have taken the object of base class. Again I am going to create default constructor of derived class with empty body, then parameterized constructor. But in the parameterized constructor I am going to use the concept of MIL also. MIL concept we have already seen in the unit number 2, right? The last video of unit number 2 is based on the concept of MIL. So those who do not understand this particular syntax may refer the video of MIL. Now y equals to n, void display 1. We are going to print the value of y. Value of y is and y. Now it's time to develop the structure of void main. CLR SCR and get ch. Over here I am going to create the object of base class 10. So the value of 10 would be fetched inside the variable m, and it will be stored inside the value of x. Then we are going to call b.display. So it will display the value of x is 10. This one, right? Now what we are going to do? We are going to call derived d into bracket. I am going to pass the object of b, that is the base class object, d dot display 1. Now over here I am going to give the comment line. Please refer it. When you create object of derived class, then first it will call default constructor of base class, but in this it will call default constructor of derived class only. Is called containership, or you can also call it as a relationship. See, refer the comment line over here, what we have mentioned, when you create object of derived class, over here I have created object of derived class. In that case also, first of all it will call the default constructor of base class. But when you create any containership like this way, derived, then base b1 integer n, where b1 contains the value of b. And what is the value of b? That is 10. So we have passed 10 comma 20. But what is the scenario when you create object of derived class? At that time, first of all it will call the default constructor of base class. But when you create object of derived class and you want to call the constructor of derived class only, at that time you can use the concept of containership, or you can call it as a relationship. So let me save the program first, then we will execute program number 15. Let us execute. See, value of x is 10 and value of y is 20, but output is not the program, it is not related with the program. The main thing is what? That when you don't want to call the base class constructor, when the object of derived class is created, at that time you can use the concept of containership or MIL or hazard relationship. So this is all about our today's session. In our today's session, we have studied 3 different topics. First is called constructor in derived class. Then we have taken the example of constructor and destructor in inheritance. And third is called containership. Over here we have completed unit number 3. Let me share the notepad file for our first program. We have taken in our today's session example of constructor in derived class. First of all, class base, integer a, base class constructor. We make public base, derived class constructor. Let me scroll down the program up till derived class constructor. We have taken void display method inside derived class. Over here, when I create object of derived class, at that time first of all it will call default constructor of base class. That is the rule, and I have shown you by by pressing F7 we have performed dry run. Let me share the second program, which is based on the constructor and destructor in inheritance. We have taken 3 different classes, and in this particular example we have considered multi-level inheritance, because base class is there, derived 1 class is there, and derived 2 class is there. So we have performed multi-level inheritance. Over here we have taken base class constructor, base class destructor. I am going to scroll down up to the name of derived 1, derived 1 constructor, derived 1 destructor. Let me again scroll down up to class derived 2, which contains derived 2 constructor, derived 2 destructor. Void main contains only one statement, that is we have created the object of derived class 2. Remember one thing, when you create the object of derived class, at that time whatever the constructor you have placed inside the base class will be executed first, and when you call destructor in reverse order, it will destroy from the memory. So first of all derived 2 destructor will be removed, then derived 1 will be removed, and then base class will be removed. One more thing you need to mug up is what? When you want to see the output of destructor of derived 2, in such cases you need to press Alt F5. With the help of that function key you are able to see the output of destructor. Let me share the notepad file for the third program, that is containership. And containership may be asked in the theoretical exam, it may be asked in the 5-mark questions. So these all are the programs which are related with the inheritance. Let me scroll down up to base class. Now you need to write derived class. Remember one thing, that over here I have not inherited base class, and in this derived class we have taken the concept of containership. Containership is nothing but when you want to call the constructor of derived class only, at that time you can use the concept of containership, and you can compare this concept with the concept of MIL, which we have already referred in the unit number 2. Let me scroll down up to this. And you need to write comment line in the journal also, so at the time of exam you can easily refer the concept. So this is all about our today's session. Thank you all. In our next session we are going to start with the unit number 4, which is related with the pointer and object as well as C++ stream classes. Now both the units are very much small and very easy. Thank you all.